Now I'm going to move on to section 5, factoring. So we're going to factor completely, factor the GCF, and rewrite the expression as a product of the GCF. Remember, GCF is greatest common factor. All right, and this tip is very important. Always start with the GCF. All right, this second part does not apply to what we've done. So if no GCF, check for trinomials or special patterns. That will be in the second half of the unit that we ended up stopping at. So the expression that we're factoring here, I'm going to zoom in on it, is 12x squared minus 15x. So in order to know the GCF, we need to break down each of these terms into its factors, right? So 12, that is made up of 3 times 4. And 15 is made up of -1 times 3 times 5. And then there's some x's too. So we have x times x, and we have an x. So we have a few things in common here, and I'm going to highlight them. We have a 3, and we have an x. And that's it. Nothing else repeats. Because once you circle or highlight something, just think of it as off the board, right? Like 4x is left over, and we have a negative and a 5 is left over. So our GCF is everything that we factored out. So our GCF is 3x. And then that part where it says rewrite the expression as a product with a GCF, that is our remainder. So we're going to do parentheses, everything that we did not take out. So we did not take out 4x. So we're going to write it in here. We have 4x. And then our leftovers on the second part is a -1 and a 5, which is a -5. So our answer is 3x times 4x minus 5. We just factored that completely. And on to 38, factor the GCF. We have 4x to the third plus 12x squared minus 8x. So let us factor. 4x to the third, that is 2 times 2. And we have x, x, and times x. 12, that is going to be 2 times 6. We could also call this 2 times 3 here. So it's actually just 2 times 2 times 3. And then we have x times x. And then a -8x. So -1 times 2 times 4. But instead of writing 4, 4 is 2 times 2. And then we have an x. So I'm going to highlight everything that we have in common here. So it looks like we have a 2 on all of them. Looks like we have another 2 on all of them. And an x. Everything else doesn't quite repeat. So that means our GCF is going to be 2 times 2 times x, which is actually just 4x. So when factoring, you could have also taken out a 4, right? You could have done 1 times 4 for 4. You could have done 3 times 4 for 12. And you could have done 2 times 4 for 8x. And recognize that a 4 is in common. Okay. So continuing on, our GCF is 4x. And then if we write our remainder, we're going to have 4x. And that's everything we did not highlight. So on our first term, we did not highlight an x and another x. So that's x times x. So we didn't highlight x squared. Our second term, we didn't highlight a 3 times x. So that'd be a plus 3x. Our third term, We did not highlight a negative 1 times 2, so that is negative 2. And that would be our answer. All right, we have another factoring. Factor completely. We have 15x squared minus 20x. This was really similar to the first one. So similar that I almost thought we had the same problem twice. So 15x squared is made up of 3 times 5 times x times x. Negative 20, I have a negative 1 times, what's that, 4 times 5 times x. So our GCF, let's see, what do we have in common? We have an x in common. We have a 5 in common. So our GCF is 5x. And our remainder is 3x, because that's what's left over on our first term. And what's left over on the second one is a minus 4. Because remember, all of these are multiplying together. So 3 times x is 3x. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Now we have our last problem here. So we're factoring completely. Again, I'm going to rewrite it since the problem got a little bit broken up here. So we have an 8x squared minus 2x minus 6. So right off the bat, it's looking like our GCF is going to be 2. But let's see. 8 is 2 times 4 times x times x. Negative 2, that is negative 1 times 2 times x. And then this negative 6, let's see, negative 1 times 2 times 3. So we have a 2, a 2, and a 2. Unfortunately, nothing else repeats here. So 2 is our GCF. Our first term, we're left with 4 times x, which is 4x squared. Second term, we're left with negative 1 times x, which is negative x. Third term, we're left with negative 1 and a 3, so that is negative 3. So here's our answer. 2 times 4x squared minus x minus 3. And that's it for section 5.